Before there was a Concord, there was a The Day Before, and there's been some notable updates with this company as they're trying to mount a giant comeback, and it is truly insane what they're saying and doing. But before we get to all of that, we really got to go back to understand who we're dealing with and why there really should be no redemption with these fools. A few years ago, an ambitious MMO survival game trailer popped up on YouTube and promised a grand PvP PvE experience that no one in the industry was providing. It looked like a mashup of The Division meets The Last of Us meets DayZ, and that was exciting. The trailer garnered millions of views and lots of attention. However, almost immediately concerns mounted that the project would never live up to its potential and was likely a case of too good to be true, especially with the developers largely being unknown and having no experience with a game of this scale. What followed this announcement was a couple more trailers, one of which that showed a very brief snippet of combat, another with a few trucks riding through mud, and then a lot of silence. Later in 2021, there was more of the same in terms of footage. There was a hot tub and sauna hyped up as a feature of sorts, along with a bar area to hang out, another brief snippet of combat on the same trashy downtown post-apocalyptic streets, a giant abandoned mall that you could loot, some brief customization was shown, and more truck going through mud footage. The reaction was again a mix of I really hope this isn't some giant scam, and this looks like a dream game if true, which led to it being the most wishlisted on Steam. The hype was indeed real. The game was set to release in 2022 until it wasn't. The devs were suddenly bringing the game to Unreal Engine 5 and another year of development was needed. Around this time also is when controversy really started hitting this game, as it was exposed the devs were trying to get unpaid volunteers to assist in the development of The Day Before. Volunteers would receive participation certificates and free codes for their labor. Jesus. Not great. To 2023, the game was set to launch until it wasn't, delayed 9 months because of supposed trademark issues, which later the devs said was always the plan. The game was also delisted briefly from Steam because of these issues that initially the devs blamed on a bug. It was a mess. They also began hyping up raw gameplay to fight accusations of it being a massive scam. They also did an interview with IGN saying that the lengthy delay would give them the extra time needed to better prepare for the release and make the overall improvements for the game. It will become even more polished, optimized, and content-filled. And to the doubters, they said, for us and millions of people, The Day Before is a childhood dream come true. It's a game with zombies and other people in a huge post-apocalyptic skyscraper city. We understand that some players not seeing the whole picture might have doubts about the game. Our whole focus has always been on the product itself. We only believe in the final product. No matter what anyone says, you'll see for yourself on November 10th this year. That date would also end up being delayed to December. And the raw gameplay that they promised did eventually arrive in early 2023, which looked like a massive downgrade compared to the footage that was shown in the years prior. They produced 10 minutes of gameplay of walking. It was a walking simulator, and a very boring, empty, static open world. People also noticed some of the visuals and scenes were directly ripped off from prominent AAA games. This was not necessarily a new problem, as Fantastic had done this many times before. Additionally, people started to notice a lot of the assets being used in the game was from an asset store. Nothing wrong with a few, but it looked like most of the prominent elements of The Day Before wasn't actually handcrafted but purchased from an asset store. So certainly the feeling that this was a massive scam was near certain for most of us by this point. And yes, Fantastic continued to double down on the years of work that they had put into this game, and even posted about the dangers of disinformation and how it needs to be dealt with as it harms smaller studios like themselves. Regardless, the scammy accusations were not going away, and the months to follow just further confirm that, whether that be their knockoff Red Dead 2 gameplay overview and or the random luxury car they announced. Nothing about this game made any sense. Everything looked amateurish, and everything screamed massive scam. And launch date proved exactly that. It was an absolute disaster. Fantastic again had another brilliant statement on their social media asking people not to call them scammers, or that The Day Before was an asset flip, which that's what it was. The Steam ratings were quickly overwhelmingly negative. The gameplay could be summarized as not really being an open world MMO like DayZ, which is what it was marketed as, but an extraction shooter, a poor one might I add. The game was full of bugs, mechanics that were just broken, no persistent progression, no story content, AI generated boring nonsense, random useless features like a ranch building mechanic, NPC interactions looked and sounded stupid. The world was empty, boring, and static, no weather effects, nothing at all like the original footage. The zombie AI was dumb as bricks, even finding a zombie was difficult. There was lacking UI, the in-game economy was a mess, lazy, stupid animations, barely functional gunplay, constant FPS issues, crashes, and broken servers. That was the day before, a game that was quickly delisted, everyone refunded, and the devs ceasing to exist. If only that is where this all ended, but in the months to follow, it was learned Fantastic fired a number of staff and various ex-employees spoke out against the company's founders for their piss-poor management, which led to them going on social media in early 2024, attacking the accusations, and having a pathetic hissy fit. They said everyone on their team actually loved them, and they were fantastic employers. They said they didn't deceive anyone because everyone got their money back. They even mentioned they forcibly issued refunds to those who did not even request them. How many companies return money like that? We are not a fly-by-night company. They took aim blaming content creators for making huge money by creating false content with huge titles from the very beginning to gain views and followers, exploiting the lack of information about the game's development, which is that's their own fault. They went on to state that everything in the trailers was implemented and bizarrely mentioned to remember an experiment where you're asked to count pink objects in a room and then recall the blue ones. You won't remember any, it's all about focus. Then they shifted back to shitting on content creators for crafting a negative bias and hate, all in order to make money. Finally, they weirdly highlighted how Dr. Disrespect, a massive content creator, was an unbiased streamer who gave the game a chance and liked it, and then claimed that after sales closed for the game, many people wrote to them saying that content creators deceived them and they actually liked the game and wanted access again. This statement was fucking insane, certainly crafted either by Sourpuss1 or Sourpuss Soyboy 2. Quickly deleted also this statement, and now 8 or so months later, they are back with a new game and vision. Fantastic 2.0 is what they're calling it. They have changed. That is what they claim.
Confirms the worst. Somehow Palpatine returned.
This is the new Fantastic. I guess they changed their logo to blue and said, "Help Fantastic return." They have a new Kickstarter. We'll talk about that in a second. This is the part I absolutely thought we had to talk about. Everyone deserves a second chance. This is a company with, I think, a couple of dudes. Just give us a second chance. We deeply apologize to everyone for the day before and take full responsibility for what happened. Take a look at our plan, Fantastic 2.0, where we share how we'll fix our mistakes. And this is what they mean by that. It's a PDF file in which the plan for recovery. I absolutely love the phrasing of this. This is their plan. We're going to be honest now. From now on, our development and marketing will be based on the principle of honesty, because I just love the admission right here. They're going to be transparent now. We understand the mistakes and absence of past communications. We commit to ensuring transparency and development and openly providing honest and comprehensive information. I love it. I really do. I love it. They're going to be professional now. We are transitioning from a volunteer-driven approach to one firmly rooted in professionalism. Yeah, that was a big controversy, wasn't it? Truly astonishing stuff. And they go on about some of their strategies for the upcoming year, strengthen their community engagement, raise development standards. It's more of pretty much what they said before. They're going to rebrand themselves. The rebranding process will be completed to align Fantastic's identity with its new core values of honesty, transparency, and professionalism. My God, the fact that they actually thought that this was going to work. And they talk about their logo, the new Fantastic brand embodied by its vibrant blue logo and bold geometric designs represents more than a mere visual. It's just that. It signifies the company's renewed commitment to transparency and honesty. My God, you keep saying that stuff. You can say it as many times as you want. It does not fucking matter at all. And they go on about this stupid ass logo. My God, but back to their website. They opened a merch store. If you want to get in on sold out hat. Look, it's a $20 hat. It's sold out. The dad hat. Back to winning. I gotta open that. We gotta see that. Back to win. It's sold out. Wow. Maybe you've been through tough times, but that doesn't stop you from looking damn good in our Fantastic Back to Win hat. I can't take this seriously. It's so fucking stupid. I'm at a loss. I'm crying. This is so funny. Do they all have stupid sayings on each of them? I have to see this. Oh. Okay, it's the same thing, but that's so funny. The merch store says, support Fantastic's return by purchasing from our Back to Win limited collection. So you can get a $65 hoodie that says Fantastic Back to Win. So much creativity, so much honesty and professionalism. Oh, by owning a piece from this high quality and trendy collection, you become an essential part of our story. These guys are so fucking stupid, it's not funny, but they have a frequently asked question. I may have to pause the video just to stop laughing and crying, but what has changed since their closure, and why did you decide to return? After the closure, we reflected on our past mistakes and initiated significant internal changes to drive radical improvement, which is pretty much most of the team left, and it's just these guys, a couple of the guys that have been exposed in the past. We discontinued the practice of involving, we talked about that before, there are no more volunteers because there is none to be found, especially because there's nothing promising on the horizon with this developer and no more lies that people will believe in. How do you plan to avoid past mistakes? And again, it's the same shit. Honest marketing, engaging with the community, releasing development progress reports, blah, 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 blah. Has the team at Fantastic changed? Our team has become smaller, but it still consists of the same people who created all of our previous games. Well, that's not encouraging at all. Blah, blah, blah. They have a bunch of other nonsense. I thought this was interesting. Prop night and day before. Do you have any reflections on the unsuccessful launch? They say with the day before, we couldn't continue development due to financial losses, which led to Fantastic's closure. We lost all legal rights to prop night and the day before. Over time, we've analyzed the factors that led to the day before's unsuccessful launch. These included overly ambitious goals on a low indie budget. Where's the words about lying and fraud? None of that here, though. Interesting. A team without AAA tech experience and embellished marketing, okay, a little bit there, which we deeply regret. We take full responsibility for what happened, and this experience has taught us a valuable lesson. As a reminder, we didn't accept pre-orders, and all sales the day before have been fully refunded. You know why they were refunded? Because Steam was going to do that anyway, I'm pretty sure. And they say that they don't have any pending lawsuits. That's because of those refunds. I promise you, if you didn't do that, there would be pending litigation against these fools. Now, though, we get to their About Us page. They talk about their history. It's very interesting how they characterize some of this stuff. Fantastic with the support of 1,300 backers. They raised $60,000 to fund their first game, The Wild 8. And that was in 2015. 2017, in collaboration with publisher Hype Train Digital, they released The Wild 8, which became Fantastic's first Steam top seller with over 200,000 copies sold. The game was later acquired by the publisher. The thing about this is there's some very murky history with this game that's very confusing. I say that because of the fact that Hype Train Digital, they mentioned the fact that Fantastic was the original developer on The Wild 8, but after the game's early period in early access, the developers decided to discontinue work on the project due to internal reasons. With the studio, Hype Train Digital took over the development independently. All business relations with Fantastic were terminated in 2017, and the game is well received on Steam, but I think that's more to do with these guys and not necessarily Fantastic, but whatever, it's part of their website, I suppose, and their history. I love this admission, though. They released Dead Dozen, a game I've never heard of. Their first attempt to develop a large game. The game was closed due to low sales. Just the fact that a publisher's admitting that's just so funny. They released Radiant One, which became a mobile hit, a game I haven't heard of as well. The game received high ratings from critics. It has like 100, I actually did check a second ago. It has 100 ratings on Steam, and it is positive. I guess that's a win, I suppose. Highly recommended by IGN. I would love to see that review. In 2021, Fantastic and Matona created a joint venture, and they released Prop Night, which became a Steam hit with sales of over 900,000 copies. And then they say Matona Fantastic released the day before, which periodically became the #1 most wishlisted game. I don't know if you should be bragging about that game in any regard. There's a reason why it was #1 most wishlisted, and that was because of the bullshit lies that these guys spewed for years, and some people believed in it. And they did this in 2023. In 2022, and was featured multiple times at NVIDIA events. Again, this is not the W that they think it is. Due to technical issues and low ratings, no mention of lies, the game was removed from sale in December, and all funds were refunded. Following financial losses, Fantastic was subsequently shut down. And now this brings us to their Kickstarter. This is where they're trying to get people to join back in. It says it on their website. This is part of their upcoming games, their new slate of games. They have some sort of other game they're talking about, but they want people to get involved. They want people to support them. And they say, again, help Fantastic return. We need your help to bring this terrible, shitty fraudster company, one of the biggest disaster stories of 2023. They want us to bring them back from the grave, funding our new game on Kickstarter and supporting us. So here's their Kickstarter. Escape Factory, a physics-based multiplayer co-op escape game set in dangerous factories for 4 to 8 players. It has $220, and it should not get a penny more. It really should not have any money at this point. I don't know who the fuck is donating, but that's just silly. And they want to get at least $15,000 for this game to be made and for them to have a true comeback. And it's pretty much more of the same here about, helping them return. Today we need your support once again to bring Fantastic back by funding our new game Escape Factory. And then again, more of the apologies. We sincerely apologize for everything that happened and are committed to making things right. And they have all of their digital rewards and such. And then they have just some details about the game. 4 to 8 players dive into the Ultimate Party Challenge. I played it a little bit. We're going to talk about that in a second, more about this game, because there's some interesting finds already being made in the first couple of hours of its existence. But yeah, as you see, it's a physics game, and it's much simpler than what they're making it out to be. It really is hilarious how complicated they're trying to make this out to be, even though it is probably just a bunch of assets thrown together. And here's their stretch goals. $20,000, game launch secured, they have their return. Steam Deck version at $50,000, a console version at $100,000, free DLC at $150,000, a Nintendo Switch version at $200,000. Each location has its own unique soundtrack that gets you the $250,000, more free DLC at $300,000, a new mode at $500,000, a creative mode at $700,000. So yeah, these guys have some lofty goals. I don't know how in the hell they think they're ever going to get anything close to this, let alone this will be a challenge, and I highly doubt it's going to happen. Now, they do claim here that the game art it's all been created by themselves, by their dedicated team, although some of the art has been shown that it came from the Unity asset store, so I'm not necessarily sure what they're referring to. From the characters to the factory environments, that doesn't exactly line up. Every detail is carefully crafted to bring the game world to life, not necessarily very transparent and honest right here, especially because, again, some of this stuff is from the Unity asset store. We put heart into designing each part, ensuring everything feels unique and full of personality. And I guess these are some of the examples of the artwork that they created. Geartron, Zaptron, Riptron, Guntron, blah, 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 some of the character designs. And then they bring up some of the early concepts. They definitely did some work here. I give them props for that, I suppose. Doesn't mean that they deserve any sales of this product at all. Next, though, here we have the stretch rewards. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I thought it was rather interesting. If you want to see the $2,000 mark, you make your mark on Escape Factory. With this limited reward, your name will be featured on a prominent board within one of the in-game locations. And then $3,000, you join our development team and leave your creative mark. With this reward, you'll have the unique opportunity to collaborate with us in designing an in-game location and work closely with our artists to bring your custom monster to life. So you get your own custom monster in the game. For $5,000, you get your very own exclusive in-game pet. I have no idea how that would work, and I don't think they know. That will follow you wherever you go. $5,000, you get your own unique in-game pet. You're the only person. Wherever you go, making your adventure even more unique. You'll be credited in the game as a special collaborator. And now for $12,000, you enjoy an unforgettable dinner with the founders of Fantastic. As a token appreciation, you'll be named as a special sponsor in the game's credit and on the supporters wall of our website. So some lofty rewards that will not be claimed by anybody, because I don't know why anyone would want to sit down with these fucking fraudsters anytime soon. But looking a little bit further at their Kickstarter, I thought this was rather interesting. They mentioned that why Kickstarter, and they have a full-on admission that they still have volunteers working on this. Very confused. I'm not sure what this means. Internship type stuff. I'm not sure. At the moment, some team members are working out of goodwill. Others are balancing additional jobs, and some contribute only in the evenings. Rather interesting. Now, to social media and the marketing so far for Escape Factory, I thought this was rather interesting, but their own YouTube page for this, it is disabled likes. I wonder why. And the comment section, of course, absolutely roasting them for their history. Like, you kidding, right? You just pulled off the biggest grift in gaming that I've seen in a long time, and now trying to make a return like we forgot what you did. Is this a out of season's April Fool's joke? Little bro, we ain't forgot what you done. And on Twitter, it's pretty much the same story. On their own Twitter account, they got, I remember they scrubbed everything, but they just are responding to everybody with the same stuff that we have on their website. How we scammed, we refunded all the money. I love that response. Are you planning on doing similar games like the day before in the possible future under the right circumstances? Of course, yes. Jesus Christ, these guys. We made mistakes and we've worked hard to learn from them. Okay, sure, guys. Now, the first thing that you notice when you open up the Escape Factory demo folder is the fact that, as you can see right here, I'll click on it, but Escape Factory, back up this folder, but don't ship it with your game, which just absolutely hilarious. A good explanation that a Twitter user gave is that it's actually an asset flip of Unity's multiplayer sample you can get on GitHub, slapped together with a bunch of stock assets and tools. In other words, standard fantastic plan. And taking a look into some of the other stuff within these files, I did look through the, I think it was the game global manager of sorts, but anyway, pretty much it showed off that there's a bunch of assets once again here, which again, it is Fantastic's plan. This is how they go about games. There's a Fantasy Skybox free. This was from the asset store. There was also mention to a lava map within it. There was also mention to Pixel Sky's demo background, and I'm sure there's many more that I've not been able to find, but these were just a couple of easy ones, and it should come as no surprise, but other individuals have already discovered that there's even more assets here, and I'm sure this list is only going to grow as people dig a little bit more into the files of this new game. Now, to a mini review of the Escape Factory demo, I thought I was going to show live gameplay, but it really just isn't worth it with this experience. I did download and play it for a few. It's fine, I suppose. There is not much here, and yes, it is still buggy and broken. You play as some sort of worker that alongside a few others, you need to jump on platforms, avoid obstacles, grab eggs or something, and bring it to a door to advance. There's some cool animation here, but my suspicion, until I'm proven wrong, is that this wasn't produced by them, but purchased from some sort of asset store. And again, that's not necessarily an issue, but as we saw with the day before, almost the entire game was just that. I hope I'm wrong, but this company has proven to be bad liars, and when you do load this demo up for the first time, they say they poured their hearts into this, I guess in the last 6 months when they were supposedly shut down. The demo did break for me after 10 minutes. I couldn't advance through a tunnel anymore, and the egg things wouldn't open the doors to advance. I played for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and I had enough after that. Even finding one server with the necessary 4 players was a difficulty, and ultimately, Fantastic does not deserve a second chance, and I don't see any way this ending up being successful. If anything, this return attempt and new game is just yet another embarrassment for a company and its founders that for some fucking reason didn't get the message the first time. Anyway, Fantastic, the developers behind 2023's big gaming disaster the day before, is back for now. How long? Only time will tell. Anyway, what do you make of the return? Let me know down in the comments section below. Also, let me know your thoughts on their new game, Escape Factory, and thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, or if you found any informative value. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.